math scores are dropping. The Department of Education has to go. The U.S. Department of Education does not set curriculum or academic standards. Every state has its own Department of Education, and they, along with local school boards and districts, handle all things teaching. In fact, that's also who determines things like salaries or per pupil spending. But if you have an issue with what is taught in your kid's school or your state is ranked poorly, you have an issue with your state's Department of Education or your local school board or your district. The federal government is actually not even legally allowed to set or control curriculum standards or instructional methods. The Department of Education is about helping every child access education. The U.S. Department of Education gives out funding to state departments of education. And yes, there are conditions attached. To receive federal education funding, states and districts have to follow civil rights laws like Title IX and Title VI, serve their special education and disabled students, create statewide academic standards, but states are free to do what they wish. The Department of Education doesn't say what they are. They do have to test students in reading and math in grades 3 through 8 and once in high school, but the U.S. Department of Education doesn't create these tests. States and private companies do. If schools are low-income schools and they get Title I funds, they have to spend that money on programs that help disadvantaged students and show measurable improvement over time. So again, the U.S. Department of Education does not write state curriculum. It does not dictate how to teach. It does not control per pupil spending. States decide school budgets. There's like funding formulas that the states come up with, and they give that money to the school boards, and the school boards have their own funding formulas, and they give that to the districts. Do you see how it comes down? So are you sure that you want to give it all back to the states? Because it sounds like you have an issue with your state, not the U.S. Department of Education. When you say you want to close the U.S. Department of Education, you're just saying, I don't really care about all students being able to access education. Which, maybe that's the quiet part out loud. Maybe that's what you want to say. I don't know.